Hey everyone, and welcome into a Master Duel video. I don't post too many of these, but I'm just going to give people my thoughts on what I think about Master Duel currently. My name is The Materian. I stream Yu-Gi-Oh! Every day on Twitch. Love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Every day. Love meeting people all over the world. Do follow me through over there, but we'll get straight into this video and cover points where I think Master Duel should improve on, what they need to do to retain more players. So let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to talk about in this game is the rank system for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So the current system shows that if you make a new account, you start at Rookie Tier 2, you work your way through the tier system from Rookie, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, all the way up to Master Tier 1. So you brush up on your skills, aim for high ranks. High rank, the more rewards you can earn, so keep dueling. There's rank demotion as well when you reach a certain tier. So that is something I don't like about this, but I'll touch upon that very shortly. And just to show everyone the rewards you can get throughout, like they've loaded up the Diamond and Master Gems up with a whole lot more gems, so it gives people incentive to keep on playing. There's good and bad aspects of this. Other things is this is a best of one format, so it could be pretty cruel. You could lose a couple coin flips, get a couple really good boards that are set up on you going into turn 2. Have a bit of luck and you D-rank back down. I think one aspect of this system they need to get rid of if they are going to stay with it, well, they will stay with it, is removing the D-ranking all the way up to Master Tier 5. As soon as you hit Master Tier 5, if you hit Master Tier 4 and drop back down, so be it. But give the people a decent amount of chance if they want to climb that option of going up to the next tier as well. Like, say, for example, you're in Diamond Tier 1, you've won enough duels to go to Master Rank 5. Give people the option to enter that system to try and get the remaining gems. Well, they can stay in Diamond or below and just sort of play a variety of different decks without the worry of having to go and facing meta time and time again. So that's one aspect I'd like to bring up. I've got many other points as well about this current system. I've actually got another system idea that I'm going to touch upon very shortly. Obviously, a rank season lasts a month and then it resets. So if you hit Diamond, you drop back down to Platinum, Tier 5 for the start of the next season. But yeah, in the current state of the Master Duel rank system that we have, in its current state, it's a grind to say the least, hit the top ranks. Have to commit a reasonable amount of time each season to reach, at the current time, Master Rank 1. Depending on the meta, could face repeatedly the same meta decks over and over again. And depending on the players, it's they either relish this challenge and enjoy it, and I'm in that boat. I want to test myself against the best decks. I sort of play non-meta decks and try to pick up as high as rank as possible. Say, for example, I'm playing Blackwings at the moment and trying to get high as possible that way. Some people like playing the new stuff as it releases. That is quite competitive. I can also understand for players particularly that this may not be enjoyable either. Like, people may be sick of facing Tearlament, for example, which was the current best deck in the game at the current time recording. We had Despair, we've had Sword Soul, Dragon Link. These sort of decks set up some really, really good boards, and Truria Runic's another one. And people are facing these decks over and over again. They're not going to get a very enjoyable experience out of it, and they've got to work out a system that's going to retain the player base a lot more as well. D-ranking can also be demotivating as well. Say, for example, you're one rank away, or one duel away from getting up to the new tier, especially if you're going from Diamond Tier 1 to Master Rank 5, you lose that duel. There's still the ability of going all the way back down to, like, the bottom tier of that particular one, so Diamond Tier 5. I would take the D-ranking completely out of it if are they going to stay with the system? Yes. I would remove that. I would only implement it from Master Rank onwards. So people get a decent amount of gems for the season if they stick with the system. And if they hit Master Rank 5, they're not too worried about whether ranking up or ranking down. It still has that competitive element if they keep it that way. But a system I would like to see them implement is the ELO system. Like the system we currently have in the Duelist Cup, where you have people take points from the losing one, and the difference between ratings of winner and loser determines the total number of points gained or lost after a game. So this allows for better matchmaking as well. It also allows people to play certain decks and not have to worry facing the meta time and time again. Like, you might get a bit more diversity that way, you may not. So, yeah, just to explain the ELO rating system as well. It's a method for calculating the relative skill levels of players. This system, I believe, will have a better matchmaking system in theory based on how many points you have. Incentive for players to grind for a top place in each month. I would have a ranking system in that ELO system as well, where you're globally ranked and where you're regionally ranked as well. Just similar to we had in recent times where people qualified for the World Championships. And you have an icon badge for each season. So season 21, if you're ranked from 1 to 1,000, well, 1 to 10, you'd get an icon badge saying you're ranked in that particular thing for that season. Obviously, that badge you have for the season. It may be slightly better in facing some different decks with this system in mind as well. I've touched on that point. I've got a wee bit of a notepad here for my stuff. People are probably wondering how gems would be earned in this system. So this would be my system to approach this. So a simple win system. Diamond to Master Climb each season, you can earn 1,750 gems, for example. I would divide this amount by 100 wins for the season. That could get you all the gems above. So it gives you a decent amount of time that you can play over the season. It's just over 3 duels a day. So every one you get, so the system would work like this. So the first one you'll get 20 gems. The second one you'll get 15. Third one would revert back to 20 gems. Fourth one, 15 gems. Fifth one would revert back to 20 gems again. You keep going till you reach 100 duels, and you get the 1,750 gems for the season. People would then be saying, what about the rookie to platinum gems, etc. For a player that is starting out, they would miss out on these gems and would be at a disadvantage straight away. So this is simple. I would implement something where you get all these gems, where there's a one-off climb that does not reset, you cannot derank from this. We'll say the current Master Duel system has from where you rank up, and say for example that goes from rookie to platinum. And once max rank is obtained from that, so platinum tier 1 in this example, players will move into the ELO system and remain in there. I think this is not a bad idea to have this implemented either, because it gives players, regardless of what knowledge or skill in Yu-Gi-Oh, to be able to develop some knowledge and skills about their decks that they want to play, or challenge themselves on. Gives them time to work on getting some good decks, or decks they would like to play, before moving into the ELO system. Also allows missions to be completed at their own pace without no fear of missing out on those gems. I see people on Twitch and YouTube enjoy a climb or a challenge to get to the top rank on new accounts. That incentive is still there for them to do that bit as well. Some people I know that do regular climbs and enjoy watching, for example, I'm a Twitch streamer myself. I do stream my climb, even though it's not a really great climb. Joshua Smith, world champion, he does regular climbs. Trushula TTV, a good friend of mine, plays a variety of different decks to that climb. So does Tempest TTV, for example. Some Papi streams will send TTV, for example, and Sean Matroy are people that I love watching climb. There's many others that I could bring up in that example. And I feel as though my system above would still allow both a casual and competitive experience for all players. Casual players, if they're in the ELO system, are not going to gather too many points. They will just keep matching up quite regularly against players that are wanting to do the same intention with whatever they want to build. And you have that competitive aspect where, say for example, people are trying to play for a ranking each season and to try to become the top player of that particular season. You showcase that in the notification. Say, for example, the Matarian was the 50th best player for the season, for example. Like, they have, say for example, Trushula TTV was in the top 10 for this season, for example. They have a list of players that did phenomenally well for that season. I'm not going to be in the top 50, for example. I'll be in the top 10, 50,000, somewhere in that aspect, because I play non-meta stuff. But yeah, an ELO system, I think, is the way to go in this game. And I also think they need to keep the best of one format here in this system here. But also I need to see them add a best of 3 potentially on the ladder as well somewhere, just so people got that best of 3 experience as well. I know a lot of people want it implemented in. I would love to have it as well, but I just can't see them doing it. They'd say before they released this game about 2 years ago now that they weren't gonna implement such release. I think they could at least do that in like the casual aspect. Like, you could easily just set casual match details, for example, have a setting where you want to play best of 1 or best of 3 with someone, be able to side deck in that and everything like that. Would be something simply that they could implement in without affecting their current system. But that's the first main points that I wanted to talk about. People can agree or disagree with me there, but I think they need to seriously reconsider this. Like, in its current state, I think they could do a lot better. For example. Okay, the next point I want to talk about in this video is currently the solo aspect of the game Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I like these stories that they have with all the different archetypes and whatnot. They're quite enjoyable to go through. As you can see, I've completed most of them. One aspect that lets them down a bit, I think the tutorial Duel Restart Duel Training, it's not enough for a new player. I think they need to go through and give more comprehensive situational things in this game that can happen and how to deal with certain cards, when to play certain cards, etc. I just feel as though these are just not quite enough as they stand. Like, you go through different aspects of this, but this is over pretty quickly, and sometimes players don't pick up enough information how to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In its current state. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a real complex game at the moment. A lot of things going on. 6 different mechanics in the game. And I feel as though the tutorial could have a lot more in it. I would love to see an implementation like similar to the sort of the old World Championship games back years and years ago. Like, GX Duel Academy did it well. They had some puzzles where you had to do a bit of problem solving, but it also helped you understand how to play certain cards and finish off a turn. For example, people will be well aware of those puzzles. I would like that to be instead of a Duel Live feature. Like, instead of watching a replay to get 5 gems, maybe this could be like a duel puzzle where you, say, for example, have a situation that they've conjured up, and you sort of work out what needs to be done in this situation to get the optimal outcome on a turn, or to win on that turn, for example. But yeah, like that's a simple thing that they could implement, you know, like it's surely not that hard. But I do like most aspects of this. It gives you a wee bit of an insight to the deck. It also unlocks the pack that they correspond with. Say, for example, we'll go into this one here, for example. So you hit your goal here, you unlock the pack that they're in. You might quite like the deck and start investing stuff into it. One aspect I would like to see them too, they have the festivals too, right? This is something they could implement as well. Just going to tie it in with this, for example, here. So the King of the Islands, the new festival. So we've got the loner decks. So say, for example, we've got the Essence of Najitsu Mosquito. Could they have maybe 2 to 3 basic tutorials on how to play the deck, for example? Like, that would be a good idea. Like, example, how these cards work and what you want to do on each sort of interaction. Like, give people an opportunity to, with the loner deck, to sort of learn how to play them before going into dueling in this particular festival, for example. But that's something that they could incorporate in as well, so people get a bit more sort of a perspective of how to play things before they enter in that. But yeah, based on solo, I've got I think solo's reasonably interesting to the point where I can get a lot out of it. But I feel as though they need a more comprehensive lot of training in regards to all the mechanics. I'll have a comprehensive one for each of them. So after duel training, I'd have, say, Ritual first, then you'd work your way to Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, Pendulum, and Arc and have a variety of different decks for each of the tutorials as well. I maybe have 3 or 4 different decks that they sort of do up for you, and that way people get an opportunity to sort of get a bit of familiarity of how each mechanic works, and if it's well explained, it just gets people more prepared for ranked. Okay, another simple thing I'd like to see Master Duel implement is, like, we only get up to 30 slots now, you have to buy the other 5 slots. You should have the ability to have unlimited, like, customization up to a certain point. Like, I feel as though 30 slots for decks is not quite enough, whereas I had to store them otherwise elsewhere. But yeah, that's a simple point I'd want to touch upon. Give people the ability to maybe have 100 decks sort of stored up here. like a good catalog of what they can build into, instead of deleting things as they go along. I think that would be just a simple thing they can implement there. So that's what I like to see them improve here. One aspect where I felt they've let themselves down on in this game is the team battle. Like, team battle was really fun for like 24 to 48 hours. It was a reasonably cool concept. But they really did nothing afterwards after that. Like, and people have obviously stopped playing this. Like, there may be a small community out there that plays this mode. Not to my knowledge, but I feel as though they could implement something like a little ranked system from, say, for example, Team Tier 5 to Team Tier 1. And based on what tier you finish on the season, you earn that amount of gems. Say if you end up on Team Tier 5 of the season, if you've actually dueled in the mode, you get 50 gems. If you get to Team Tier 4, you get 75. 3, you get 100. Team Tier 2, 125. And Team Tier 1, 150. Have a wee bit of incentive there for people to play this mode. Maybe you'll get a few people playing it, and since they hit Team Tier 1, like the max rank, they get those gems for that particular sort of season. It's sort of a dead sort of mode, and it's quite sad, really. I like the aspect of, say, pairing up with your friends and sort of dueling another team out there. It's something that they could sort of consider there, for sure. So the next aspect I'd like to talk about is the current casual match system that they currently have. It's one of those interesting ones where it's a random duel, has no effect or rank or level. Build an innovative deck and duke it out with your rivals. It's got good intentions and everything, but from what I've heard from other players is they still face the top meta decks. What I think Konami should really implement here is they should say, like, the following cards are not to be played in casual ranked. Like, say for example, like Max C cannot be played in casual ranked. Like a certain list of cards along with the ban list, so people have to play innovative decks and they can try out different builds in here as well, with still respecting and playing fairly against the opponent. Another thing I'd like to see them add in here is maybe like those 3 missions you get per day to try and do to gather your gems. Maybe implement that so you can get them in here as well. But not a lot to say on casual. Like, it's a good thing that they've added it in here. It just gives another aspect to this game that people may like doing. This could be an interesting talking point, this one, and this is the duel room. Like, you probably think I can't talk about too much what they can implement in a duel room. Well, I think I can sort of bring up a few points that may make people think, is it a good or bad idea for the game? One thing I'd like to see them implement is the ability to customize and make your own ban list. Like, set what you want banned, set what you want limited 1 and limited to 2. I'm a content creator. I'm also a Twitch streamer. I have many different tournaments with regulations in place. If they implemented something like this in, it would just make things a lot more easier to run, because I'd know people are abiding by those rules, because I'd be able to set it straight away. And yeah, like, just simple things like that. Like, they've got all these different modes, which is cool. It just gives a different aspect to things. I'd also like if they had more life point options. I would also like it if you could implement different master rules for the different time periods of Yu-Gi-Oh! And potentially, as time goes on, if they can program it, like have like formats from like Edison format, Goat format, cards that were available at those times, what master rules implemented, because obviously some cards have been pre-errated and changed over time. Like, they could sort of implement it in a way where if we have Edison format, say for example, like certain cards have the effects from that time period, like Ancient Fairy Dragon, for example, had a really good effect back in the day. It's not as good now. But say, for example, if it was an Edison format, it had its old effect and how good it was in that time period, for an example. But that's where they could implement all these different formats, I feel, in the game. But yeah, the duel room, for me, has so much more potential as well. Like in Duel Links, for example, they have a point battle system. Like, I really used to love when I played Duel Links and would set up a point battle room for about an hour or however long I wanted it to be. And people would duel other people based on, like, the ELO system I think it had before, where you just paired up with someone that was available at the time in the room, and the winner was determined after an hour. They need to implement that into the game. I would like to see a best of 3 option added in here as well. Like, that shouldn't be too hard to do. People are screaming out for best of 3. Sure, if you don't want it best of 1, Konami, like in your rank system, at least implement it in here. Give people the opportunity to play a format with your current ban list to see what would happen if people were able to side deck and have those options available to them. You just want things added into this game that just give a better player experience overall. Another thing I'd like to see them do on a regular basis is have at least 2 festivals per month. I wouldn't have any more than 2. The reason why I'm saying this is because they would put events on repeat far too often and people say, hey, they're running that event again. 1 new event per month and 1 maybe returning one that's been pretty popular is what they sort of need to do. I think 1 festival per month's not enough. I also think if you only have ranked 1 festival, people are going to run out of things to do very quickly. And they're going to probably play other games more often than not because they've done what they need to do for the season, which is get all the gems and have completed the festival. The festivals, as mentioned, I brought this up before, need to do a better job with the loner decks. I think the loner decks, like they set up are fine, but I think if people don't have a deck or the ability to make a decent deck, at least explain to them, like in a wee tutorial, how to play the deck. Maybe a 2 or 3 tutorial, like similar to solo mode, where it teaches you how to play aspects of this deck. Would be quite a cool wee feature I'd like to see them add. One thing I'd like to see them cut out completely is the legacy tickets. Say, for example, you hit 8,000 points for the season. That's where I think you should get the title. Like, no one's opening up the legacy pack tickets, so I'd get rid of those. But yeah, the great thing is this month they have 2 events. I think that's pretty cool, just to sum this up. And I hope they continue that on in the future. So that's one thing I hope they continue doing. Okay, overall for this game, like the crafting system is the next aspect I want to just briefly touch upon. I want to keep the video to short and sharp points. I think the crafting system's a really good system, you know, like you're able to dismantle whatever you don't need and able to craft certain cards you do want, for example. And if you don't want to play a deck anymore, you can just sort of dismantle that and put that towards your new build. One other little things that I want to touch upon as well, I'd love the ability to, say, generate a royal card, for example. Maybe make that 100 UR for like a UR royal, 100 SR mats get you a royal SR, for example. That would be a cool thing I'd like to see them add in to the game. That's just a little bit on the crafting system. I feel as though like they've given you the ability, even though they want you playing 1 account, is to make many different accounts, and you can sort of build whatever deck you want within a few hours. That's the one great aspect of this game. Like you're not limited to 1 account effectively. You can play other sort of builds if you want to. I stick with the 1 account. I particularly love the grind of being a free-to-play player. But yeah, like. The system is pretty good as it is, but this little thing like maybe being able to craft maybe a royal just immediately out of the blue would be great. This means players are not wasting their mats trying to get particular royals for certain things. Give you a great example, a player when this game first released, I think spent around $6,000 getting all the royal Dragon Maid cards, like their whole deck was royal. I think that's a complete waste of money. Give people the ability just to craft it with whatever mats they have is all they really need to add in to this. One thing I really love about this game is the dual pass that you get every 2.5 months on average. You can just get the normal pass and go right through, but I highly encourage everyone to go for the dual pass gold. And it's a great system. Like, I think you invest 700 gems, you get all the 700 gems back when you hit level 100. You get UR and SR mats for new cards. Great concept. I really was worried when this game first released that, say for example, the normal pass you'd get up to 50 and then you'd have to purchase the gold pass with actual money. I normally complete the dual pass within a couple of days upon release, so I'm sort of grind this game to the absolute maximum. I've logged in nearly 600 days in a row, for example. But yeah, there's the grading system there. And you get like a wee mate every season and everything like that, and the little thing for your screen. Nothing to change about the dual pass for me, as long as they keep everything the same, don't fix what's not broken. And it's a great wee incentive just to build up your account. Just one little minor thing, like instead of being every 72 to 80 days, which seems to be the average for the Duel Pass, maybe trim that down to 60 days for the Duel Pass. I think every Duel Pass should be at least 2 months. Just gives people a decent amount of time to get to level 100. But I feel as though stretching it out another half month's a wee bit too long. I'll just trim that down a wee bit. But apart from that, Duel Pass is really good in this game. Okay, so one aspect I want to talk about is the purchase gem feature in this game. I think the current deals that they have at the moment are not that good. I think they're abysmal. They really need to reduce the costs of these, so they're a bit more value for money. Like 4,950 gems for me, I can earn that in a month just by playing the game and grinding it. Like, I'm not paying $110 just to get 4,950 gems just there and then. Like, at the end of the day, like, people can make multiple accounts in the example before and just build whatever they want to anyway. Like, if they made these better value, maybe people may stay on their 1 or 2 accounts that they have and put money into this game. But far too expensive. Like, the value for money's on some of the lower ones, I believe. Like, they do have these limited time sort of deals as well. But they're just few and far between. They're not great value for money either. They are terrible value for money. And something I would not recommend to new players at all. Like, grind the game a little bit. Get your deck that you want and just go from there. I think you'll be absolutely fine. This is something they need to address. Another left field option here that I would potentially recommend, just for this section here, I just sort of it just before I was going to cut to the next point that I have. Why don't they have the ability to purchase like SR and UR mats for certain cards as well that you want to collect? You may not want to get like 5,000 gems for example, but you may want a certain amount of mats to sort of complete a deck with something. Like maybe 100 SRs, like $5 New Zealand dollars, 100 UR for example is like $15 or something. Like, just to complete a deck. Like, I'm just giving them options here. Like, it doesn't have to be a system like that. But the ability to purchase mats instead of just gems, like, you may just want the mats to maybe get some cards and that's it. You may not want to invest in that pack that they're particularly in. That is another option they do need to implement, I think. But yeah, just food for thought there. One aspect of the game is obviously all the missions and that. I've spoken a little bit about that in the video. I think that they've got it mostly right for that aspect. Like, you get certain missions per day that you got to complete, like destroying a card, like summoning a ritual link or XC monster, depending on the mission, playing 3 spells, 3 traps. Got that aspect right. I have no complaints about that. I do like the incentive that they're going on at the moment. Like, getting a pack ticket really gives people an insight whether they want to invest in the pack or not. If they get lucky, they may go all in on the pack. I do like the login every day as well, where you get a certain amount of gems. Completing missions is always quite good. They've had quite a variety of those, but I've nearly completed all those. One little thing I'd like to see them increase is like the duelist level, maybe from 50 to 100, so people got the incentive to just maybe get the odd amount of gems. And that's because some players will have all these missions done and will be solely relying on their 140, 150 gems that they earn per day on the grind. One insult here, which I do think they need to change. Who's really wanting to grind for a legacy pack ticket at level 43 and level 50? Just change that to 50 gems, please. That would be so much more easier. But yeah, look, maybe like over time gradually increase this duelist level from like 50 to 100. So it just gives people a chance to say, I'm level 50, I've spent X amount of time in the game. But yeah, just a little minor gripe, nothing too major. But yeah, I love what they do with the missions. I think the missions are simple enough and that to understand. Just need to implement it in the 0.4 into the casual sort of aspect. Another little thing is the increasing of more replays. I feel as though 10 replays saved is not enough. At least double that to 20 minimum. I ideally would love to have it at 50 to 100. Like, sometimes you have 10 really amazing replays and you have to delete one. You like showing your friends, where I'm a Twitch streamer, I like showing the odd replay that I have, as well as other people showing me replays. But give us more options in terms of having the ability to have more of those. Obviously, I talked about deck slots before. Same with replays. Give us more replay slots. And also, you only can have up to 100 friends. Just give us as many friends as we like. Give us 1,000. Like, I've got a lot of people that follow me here, but I can't add them as friends. Makes it hard to sort of search for them and whatnot. Like, that's been ever since the start of the game. Allow us to add more people in, please, Konami. One thing I think they do reasonably okay in is the ability, like, with accessories. Like, these are going to get better and better as time goes on. They're going to add more of these sort of deluxe ones in. These other mates in general. The dual fields. Like, over time, this is going to be an amazing section of stuff. I've got no complaints about this. I love some of the ideas that they have, like the Summoner, I believe the name of the card is such an amazing dual field there. But yeah, like the card protectors, like the more they add in, the better experience for players that it's going to be. Like, you got the ones that changed over the duel. I love a lot more of those. Those deluxe ones look really awesome. The icons are pretty cool as well. There's a reasonable good amount of choice coming up now. Like, that's one great thing. Like, the structured decks are really good as well. Like, for any new player that's watching this video, if you've gotten to this point of the video, always get a 3 of any starter deck. Give yourself a starting base to work off with as you build up to something that you ideally want to play, but these sort of give you some really good cards. Like, say Dragon Maid for Order. I haven't got this one yet, but Heavenly Seal, the Heavenly Spears is not a bad card. Like, it can go in many different builds, and Dragon Maids can be mixed in with a lot of other engines, for example. Like, it's a pretty fun deck to play. There's also, like, things like Black Wings. There is Gaia the Fierce Knight, Dark Magician, Spellbox. There's a variety of different things here. It's not a bad wee place to go to. And they've got all the new packs and that here, the alternative arts. Like, obviously, the new packs there. And yet get your secret packs unlocked over time. One thing I wish they did do is the pack wasn't sort of only available for 24 hours. It should just be permanently available there as soon as you unlock it. Just makes the experience a lot easier. I hate having to either craft for the pack to unlock or just waiting patiently for it to come back up again. Another little aspect of here is, say for example, this pack's been out for a while, but the alternative art of IP Masquerade is only available limited time only. It was the same with like the Golden Lord card and the Nightmare Unicorn. Keep them permanently available, like have both like the alternative art and the original artwork in file or in the pack for the months that come in. And add all the other alternative arts in eventually over time as well. Like Dark Magician's got so many different prints. Ulti-art prints, get them in. Blue Eyes has got many different versions. So do many other cards as well. Like, that would be a cool feature. Like, people may be going on a collecting spree to get these alternative arts. It'd be a good incentive for them to make a bit of money as well. Okay, just another small thing that I've thought of. Just for this video, I don't want it to drag out too much longer. I've got all these Legacy Pack cards. I've got 37 demotions. Allow me the ability to maybe dismantle them and get more legacy packs so I can complete all the cards in that collection. And once I've collected all that collection, like, it sort of just means I'm locked out of it till new cards sort of get added. Or else I'm just going to accumulate a lot of tickets for no reason. But yeah, like, I've played this game for quite a while and I've got so many copies of the cards that I just can't do anything with. Yeah, like, a little simple suggestion is being able to dismantle these for, like, legacy pack tickets so I can complete my collections. There's still some cards that I haven't gotten yet and I may get the ability to get them. Okay, just before I wrap up this video, I'm just going to pose a few questions for people to sort of talk to me about in the comment section. If you want to pop through onto Twitch at the Materian, you'll find me there, or in my Discord. What is the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel in your opinion? Like, obviously I've raised some interesting points in this video, whether they're right or wrong, in your view. The current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, I think there's a lot of improving to be done for that Ultimate Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience. I think they're having trouble retaining new players. The game is too complex, just as it stands. I think there needs to be more tutorials in place. The same thing is rising in the TCG and OCG, right, where they're having trouble getting new players in. Maybe have product that is sort of implemented in a way where it's designed with new players in mind. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is a game I will continue playing. I love the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I collect cards in real life as well. But there's many aspects Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel can improve on. Would love to hear your thoughts as well. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Smash the like button, share it with a friend, and we'll see you possibly down the road with more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel content.